Yeah. Hey everybody, how's everybody's Tuesday night? Hopefully everybody's having a great Tuesday night so far. As always, I like to start off with the videos talking about, the essential workers, the ones that are in the nurse field, the hospitals, nurses, doctors, everybody that's, working during this time right now. It's not an easy time to be working because with this whole pandemic going on, we're not sure what it is that we're trying to what we're fighting and what we're doing, but what it is that we are fighting. But those people that are out there in the hospitals and just everything from doctors to the National Guard, hopefully you guys are being safe, and we're all rooting for you, we're all praying for you guys as well. And hopefully this thing ends soon so you guys can enjoy your life, as regular and as easy as it was. And we do have a comment already. God bless us all. Yeah, and that goes for the same for the people that are in excuse me, the ones that are in quarantine. Hopefully you're taking this time to self care, and you guys are taking the time to rest your mind, rest your body, and enjoy time with your loved ones. And hopefully this boils over soon so we can all return back to normal lives. And this just turns out to be, a good experience for all of us. I know it's a scary time right now, but hopefully this video kind of distracts, your mind away from what's going out there, and hopefully this video can kind of, set your mind at ease to, get rid of distractions. Hopefully this distracts you from the real world right now, and I'm going to try my best to every day, give you guys good product and give you guys, some excitement. And hopefully this is the time where everybody just pulls together because we're all on the same team, man. This is the time where we need to help each other out. So let's all do that. But that's all I can really say is we're praying for the ones that are working. And just stay safe out there. And wash your hands before and after every meal. Cough in your elbow, and just do your best. Just do your best to social distance, because remember, it's hard not to see family right now, but the quicker we do this, the quicker we, get back to normal lives. So hopefully everybody just takes this message as a good one, and let's get this started. So as always, my name is Juan Rodriguez. I go by Junior for the people that know me. This video is coming to you live from YouTube and on a Facebook Live on our sports page that we added. And today, um, it's a double header again. It's the Jaguars pick, but the topic today is the Rams, because this would have been the Rams pick, but they traded for Jalen Ramsey to Jacksonville, and this is how Jacksonville ended up getting the 20th pick in the draft. So just to recap on what Jacksonville has gone through, they traded Nick Foles to Chicago. Matt Nagy has already said it's open competition, so may the best man win at Chicago, whether it's Mitchell or Nick Foles. They traded AJ Bouye to Denver. Calais Campbell got traded to Baltimore. Josh Allen, like I said, he was nominated for Defensive Player of the Year. Talvin Smith is still on hiatus. Free agency, they signed Joel Sherbert from Cleveland, Tyler Eifert from Cincinnati. Rashawn Melvin was signed from Detroit, and they tagged Yannick, the defensive end, the All-Pro defensive end from last year. And this video, the ninth video I made about Jacksonville, you can see it all there for the recap. But I had them taking Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker out of Clemson. Nothing more to say other than he's a natural athlete. He's as good as he gets, and that was my pick for them at number 9. So here we are. Nothing's changed. Pick 20. They're on the clock. But before I give you my prediction on them, we're going to talk about the Rams because this was their pick. So the Rams, what's weird about it is people already kind of forgot that they just recently played in a Super Bowl. Um, and I don't blame you, because when you look at their roster now, it just looks totally different from a Super Bowl roster. And to give you an idea, the Rams are in a rock in a hard place, as I like to describe it, because they have no draft capital. They're stuck with very minimal, tight cap space. They have no cap space at all. They re-sign Jared Goff. He's, I think acquitted, or he has more cap space on that team than anybody. They are taking a big dead hit by releasing Todd Gurley. So now they still have to pay him, even though he's not on the team, which was kind of a weird move, but we'll get more into that later. And Brandon Cooks is on the trade block. From the last thing I heard, there was no luck during the free agency wave, but the draft will be coming up here soon. And I suspect Brandon Cooks will be traded along the lines during draft week. If not, then he will return and we'll see what happens. But as far as the Rams, they finished 8-8, but the problem is they did what most teams could dream of, but what most teams also stay away from as well. When you're a team like the Rams, and at the time they just came back from LA, they want to get, fans excited, so they did what franchises, I mean, I don't know if almost every franchise does this, but they needed to make some noise coming back to LA. So they traded all the way up to number one to draft Jared Goff, and then his rookie year happened, and it was a total mishap because he didn't win any games his rookie year. They actually had to put him in the second half. So the following year happens. It's a totally different team. They have Brandon Cooks. Todd Gurley looks amazing. Jared Goff took a stride in the right direction. The defense was good with Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh and Marcus Peters and Corey Littleton and just a bunch of guys like Eric Weddle coming in and really helping them out. So they get to the Super Bowl, but they end up losing to the Patriots 19-3. So that was kind of the only downfall, was that they didn't really play well in the Super Bowl. But with all the talent they had, it looked like a shoo-in that they were going to make it. Well, the problem was they traded players that were kind of on their last leg, and they traded young players for young players who were kind of hotheads, like Marcus Peters. Aqib Talib was getting a little bit older, so he wasn't really performing as well anymore. Ndamukong Suh, they didn't re-sign him. Todd Gurley eventually came out that his knees were a problem. The wide receivers weren't clicking as they were the previous year, with Cooper Kupp being hurt, Brandon Cooks being hurt, and it just, what the team did really was, which is fine, like you can bet it all for one great year and one Super Bowl, that's fine. But if you don't win it, then you have to make sure that these guys can perform every year, and it just didn't work out. So halfway through the season, they traded Marcus Peters away to the Ravens. They got Jalen Ramsey in return, but it wasn't enough. The offense just wasn't clicking with Todd Gurley and the gang, and that was kind of the end of that. So season's over. We're hitting into March, and the Rams do the unthinkable. They cut Todd Gurley, and they still have to take a dead hit of almost $11 million because of the massive contract they got. They still owe him $11 million. He's still going to get paid by the Rams. It's just, unfortunately, that was kind of it. And here we go. We have a comment, Edward Sakan. Hey, Edward, how you doing? Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. But they took a hit. They have to pay him now, even though he signed with Atlanta. Brandon Cooks is on the trade block, as I said. And the one thing where I believe they messed up on was they signed Andrew Whitworth a few years ago, and he's a solid left tackle. It's just now he's 38. Big up Chicago Bears. Oh man, bear down, huh? Oh man. I know. We'll talk about those Bears. The Bears were a couple days ago. You just missed them, or actually they were yesterday. So if you want, you can go back a day. But thank you for tuning in today. So where was I? Yes, they signed Andrew Whitworth, and they have no replacement for him, which kind of forced their hand to re-sign him, and in hopes that they get a left tackle replacement sooner rather than later, only due to the fact that he is now 38 and we don't know how much time he really does have in the NFL. On top of that, they Todd Gurley, as I mentioned, he's now in Atlanta. Corey Littleton, he's heading to Vegas. Greg Zuerlein, the kicker for the Rams, who was a Pro Bowler a couple years ago, and this year was kind of his worst year as a professional, which it's okay. I mean, he's been kicking for that long, and this was his worst year. I think he's doing okay. He's now in Dallas. Clay Matthew released. Dante Fowler released, but he got picked up by Atlanta. So now Atlanta's there, and Leonard Floyd comes in. They signed Leonard Floyd. They also got Michael Brockers, who actually was supposed to sign with Baltimore but the deal fell through, and he's back in LA. I guess the Baltimore Ravens were a little concerned about his ankle, but the Rams feel comfortable. They know him better because he was on that team, so they give him a 3-year deal. As I mentioned, Andrew Whitworth re-signed. They re-signed Andrew Blythe. They did lose Ashawn Robinson, though, to Detroit, which was supposed to kind of be the replacement when Ndamukong left, but never happened. And also Nickel Roby Coleman. You might not know that name, but he is part of NFL history now. He is the corner that got away with a huge pass interference on that Saints game on the NFC Championship a couple of years ago. So if you don't remember that name, trust me, it's just he's that guy. He's that corner that caused this whole we could challenge pass interference, which was, as it showed the rest of the year, it was a big waste of time because rarely were they overturned. So the main thing for me was Sean McVay put all his marbles so early in his coaching career, in the beginning of his coaching path to the Rams, that now it just seems like 8-8. You went from Super Bowl hopes to 8-8 to now you have no first rounders for the next couple of years. You have very little draft capital, and you have no cap space. Like you're stuck in cap hell, as we like to call it. It's just bad. It's just not where you want to be as an NFL franchise. And me personally, I don't know what they were thinking. The one thing I am starting to see is that players, little by little, are starting to speak out. For example, Todd Gurley was, which was, it was a surprising shock to everybody. You release your starting running back, but I guess they just weren't comfortable with it, so they just decided to take the cap hit. But he even said it himself. It's not looking good. He truly believes that the Rams were just, I don't know if he was sour about it or if he was upset that he did get cut. He just felt like this is what he needed to move on to his career, to have another chance at an NFL career. And the thing that got me was yesterday I was reading an article at the NFL Network. I forget who wrote it, but it was a good article. And one of the things that caught me off guard was Sean McVay saying cutting Todd Gurley was a big surprise to me than anything, which when we hear that from the outside looking in, you're just giving fans now all the ammo you need to finally understand like what's really going on in the organization. I took that as you are the head coach of an NFL franchise. Remember, there's only 32 head coaches in the NFL. And you mean to tell me you were surprised that they cut your star running back? You were surprised? Nah, I don't believe it. And for me, it's just one of those things where he just doesn't want to get tied to it, which is okay. That's fine. He doesn't want to get tied to it. But if you're the head coach and one of your star players gets cut and you tell me it's a surprise, yeah, you're just kind of, shooting the bull, as they like to say. It's just no. So if that's the case, then you're really just an offensive coordinator, in a head coaching position, because I'm just having a hard time understanding how you are surprised that you cut one of your star players. Like, it's just, to me, it's just, no, it's unthinkable that he kind of said that, but it's out there. He said it. So whatever it was, if it is bad blood between Todd Gurley and the Rams, I hope it just gets to the point where hopefully down the road they smash it, bury it, bury the axe, as they say, and just, move on. But right now, I just don't see that happening. I think Todd is happy with the decision, and the Rams are now stuck in a position where it's up to Jared Goff. It really is up to Jared Goff to kind of, get him back on track. Now, the pros about Jared Goff is that he is a good quarterback. There's a reason he went number one. He's a good pro quarterback. The problem is the Rams just have no cap and no draft capital to help him build around him. And that's the thing. I'm in one of those very few minority cases where I believe that no player should be worth a third of your cap. So when Jared Goff is accounted for almost up to 50% of your cap, then yeah, all the blame is going to be on you. I mean, I don't care if the defense gave up 35, you have to score 36, because that's what they're paying you to do. And for me, I know it's unfair to, on a team game to blame it all on one guy, but I always had that theory. If, I don't mind players getting money, because it's a dangerous sport and they deserve every penny, because I can't do what they do. The problem for me as a fan, if you're going to get all this money, I need wins. And if you can't give me wins, then all the blame's on you. It's the same thing I mentioned with my brother when Carr at that time was the highest paid quarterback. And I told him, I don't give a crap if, Carr, like, I don't care if the defense gives up 50. He better put up 51, because that's what we're paying him to do. I don't care what pieces he's got. If he cares about the pieces, give up your money. And I think the Goff should really not consider about, I can't tell a man what to do with his money. However, it would be wise to kind of take a restructure and, try to get some pieces, because, like I said, your left tackle's 38. When the season's over, he's going to be 39. How many years does he have left after that? You have no right tackle. Your weapons are little. And we have a comment by Jim, quarterback money is different. Not really. It still counts for the cap. So last time I checked, quarterback is part of the team, so it still affects the team cap. So if you're going to take all that money away from the team, then at this point, I need you to lead the team. I need you to be that team leader. So for me, no. I'm sorry. It's just, I never understood why some quarterbacks get a little bit more. In Tennessee's case, Ryan Tannehill was the new quarterback and Derrick Henry led the team, but Derrick Henry got franchise tagged and Ryan Tannehill gets a pay raise for what? What did he do? Like, what makes you believe that Ryan Tannehill deserves that contract and Derrick Henry, who led the Titans to the playoffs, not the other way around, and he gets tagged on a one-year deal? He's proven that he deserves running top dollar for running back money, but it's a different league, I guess. And for me, I don't mind quarterbacks getting paid. That's fine. But if I'm a team and one of the quarterbacks gets paid, all the blame's on them. I don't care. The thing is, it's a team game. I understand that. But if you're going to count for almost 50% of, the team's cap, all 50% of the fault is going to lie on you. That's just the way it is. And I understand why quarterbacks make that type of money. That's just the way it is in the NFL now. It's all about the quarterback. But if you're going to give not mediocre quarterbacks, but if you're going to give average quarterbacks top dollar, then that's where I kind of have to question the antics of what's really important on a team, basis. Every case is different, but I really have to question at this point, like, if quarterbacks should have their own cap salary and, the team can deal with the rest. But that's another topic for another day. As far as today goes, the Jaguars are back on the clock. As I mentioned earlier, they did a bunch of things. We can always go back to that video in the very beginning. I think it was video number 9 where I talked about Jacksonville. They took Isaiah Simmons at 9, and here is my prediction on what I think the Jaguars are going to do at pick 20 in the NFL draft. Yep, there it is. Yeah, I love that sound. I love that sound. So here we go, guys, with the 20th pick in the 2020 NFL draft. The Jacksonville Jaguars select Christian Fulton, cornerback out of LSU. It's a kind of, they have to rebuild that defense. They have to rebuild what was that strength of that team, and that was defense. So when you get the best linebacker at 9 and you get one of the best corners coming out of the draft at 20, that's a good way to start. That's a good way to start rebuilding that defense. Remember, Jalen Ramsey's gone. AJ Abuye is gone. Calais Campbell's gone. A bunch of these guys are gone. However, looking at the depth chart of the whole picture of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, their need is linebacker and corner. So getting 2 top players at that point, you just can't pass. Sure, you can go wide receiver here. However, that defense kind of needs a little, help. So for me, it's Christian Fulton. So his measurables, 6 foot, just a little shy under 200. He's 197 pounds is what they weighed him in at the combine. He has a 31-inch arm length, 9-inch hand size. He was actually one of the fastest in the 40 with 4.46, 35.5-inch vertical, 10.5-inch broad feet jump, 6.9 3-cone drill, and a 4.36 20-yard shuttle. So everything you're looking for in a number 1 corner, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for speed and explosiveness, and he did both. So he tested really well, and his gauntlet at the combine video was one of the fluids out there. So it's good. His strengths really are, he excels in press man coverage. He's really more of a man than he is a zone. If you put him in a zone, he's not really, capable of he's capable of doing the assignment. It's just in his way, his best play is by press man. He rarely gets out of position on top of the route, meaning he's never going to over aggressively attack. Like he's never going to bite on a double move. He's just really going to be stay with your man at all times. He's really one of those best click and close playmakers out there in the draft, So for the people that don't know what click and close is, it's kind of like he reads the flow of the action while diagnosing the play of the quarterback, and then once the play is made, he just attacks aggressively, and he's one of the best to do it. The only weaknesses I saw was he is a press man. It's just he can improve on his strength just a little bit, because there was a couple games where he can match up with any speedy receiver, but there was times where like a T. Higgins and some of the other stronger wide receivers in the college football did play against them. He did get a little overpowered trying to shut the block on a running play. He could work on his strength a little bit. As I mentioned, he ran a 4.4. The problem is he has quick feet speed, but if he ever gets beat, he's never going to recover because he doesn't have that recovery speed that some of these guys are looking for. So you're really hoping that he locks down his corner on that first few seconds, because if not, if the receiver separates, then you're going to have safety help to help him, because that deep speed, recovery speed is just not there. And the only bad thing about it was, the only knock on him other than these two was he was suspended for the 2017 season because he tampered with a drug test. He got caught with PEDs, and then he tampered with it. NCAA found out. They suspended him for that 2017 season, and then they made him. He was able to return 2018. So in 2016, he really didn't get that much action in his freshman year. So he um, he only played in 3 games and he had 2 tackles. He was more on the special teams, and that was kind of it. But other than that, he really didn't get that much action time in his freshman year. As I mentioned, 2017, he was suspended because of those PED charges. The NCAA found out. He appealed, and he finally won, but he couldn't return until 2018. So when 2018 came rolling along, he became the instant starter. He had 25 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. So he started 10 games, but then missed the rest of the season because he ended on IR because of an ankle injury. So that was the end of his season, and he had 9 passes defended as well that year in 2018. So he was already looked at as one of the better corners. He probably could have slipped late first and maybe could have gone mid second. That was his grade as a junior. So he decided to come back as a senior. And 2019, he had 38 tackles, 1 interception. He was named second team All SEC in 2019, and they won. LSU won the national championship that year. So, like I said, he's a really talented corner. The problem is that 2017 season really hurt his stock, only due to the fact that you know his trustworthiness. Like, how much do you trust him that he won't go back to it? I believe he learned his lesson. I think it's a blessing in disguise for him that he learned from that mistake and he got better as a player. And now it's just up to him to take his game to the next level. But I believe he can do that. It's just I wouldn't have him as my number one right away. I would have him as my number 2 for now and work from there. If not, start him in the slot. But other than that, I mean, he's just really good, and he showed his athleticism and his determination at LSU. So for Jacksonville to get him at number 20, I think that's a good way to rebuild your team by rebuilding that defense. So now you got one of the better linebackers, if not the best linebacker in the draft, and you got one of the better corners in this draft as well in the first round. That's a good rebuild for Jacksonville. And if I was Jacksonville fans, and I know you guys are out there, you'll probably message me after this. I hope you guys are jumping up and down for joy because that's a great way to rebuild. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video for Jacksonville. Tomorrow, we are finally going to head to the teams that made the playoffs, starting off with the Philadelphia Eagles. So all these teams from here on out all made the playoffs. They all did their thing. Tomorrow, the Eagles are up. So I might have a guest tomorrow. I do have to confirm. I was going to have a guest today, but it just fell through. And, hopefully tomorrow's a little better. But, tomorrow, Philadelphia, they are a rowdy group. Those fans are a bunch of rowdy crowds, man. Like they, I don't really like to mess with them because they're the only fans I know that threw snowballs at Santa Claus at one halftime show. So, yeah, it's true. It's true. They threw snowballs at Santa Claus at a halftime show, and I hope I get this right, or else they'll probably throw snowballs at me if I ever get to Philadelphia. So, tomorrow it's all about Philly, guys. So, have a wonderful night, and we will see you guys tomorrow. And end it. Yeah.